uchungu na mateso, na huzuni, mashujaa wa zamani, tushwa na risasi, rezani nia ya ukombozi, kuvunja pingu za ukoloni na ima Kenya, bendera ni biti wangu, nyeusi wananchi na nyekundu, janini ya ardhi nyeupe, amani daima. Mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Thank you.
A big thank you to the maestro, Maestro Orwa. Please let us appreciate him with a better round of applause. At this juncture, I would like to invite once again the school choir. I hope they are around. I can see that they're ready. I would like to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be transported to a world of Sorry for the technical hitches. Allow me to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, before you is the school choir. Get ready to be transported to a world of harmonious magic. Allow me to proudly invite to you the enchanting, the captivating, the spellbinding performance of the school choir.
One more time, good morning. We are the choir and we will be performing two pieces. One is Hale Hale, composed by Hobson, and the other is Mlanjeni, which translates to By the Rivers of Babylon. Thank you. proclaim the fruit. Sing to the Lord. Halle, halle, hallelujah. Halle, 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 hallelujah. Emlanjeni, eBabiloni, emlanjeni, eBabiloni, emlanjeni, eBabiloni. Sativutu, satalabanzi, sani izinyebenzi. Sativutu, sativutu, satalabanzi. Sumala siyabona, untalo sibelona, sikhala sitluphenlani azizuli zwenyembezi. Sativutu, sanila. Sumala siyabona, untalo sibelona, sikhala sitluphenlani azizuli zwenyembezi. Sativutu, sanila, yele yele. Yele yele chew. Yele Jehovah. Yele
Wow, just wow. A very great presentation from the school choir. We really appreciate the extraordinary talent from them. Their voices are like stars in the night, shining brightly on our school. Please help me appreciate them one more last time. Thank you. This juncture, I would like to invite Mr. Ambatia, the main moderator, to invite the next presenter for the second session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we clap for Mr. Itabeta once again? Again, let's applaud our choir. They've done a good job. What a great way to begin us the second session this morning. We have been entertained and we are good to go in our program. So in our next presentation, we're going to have our very own Professor Mellitus Wanyama, who is going to bring us a paper. The title of his paper is The Efficacy of Artificial Intelligence in Teaching and Learning Music, a discussion on advantages and disadvantages. Before Professor comes to present his paper, it is my privilege now to give you a brief of his bio. It's always important to know who the presenters are, and that gives us the confidence of their authority within the scope of their study. So, Professor Mellitus Nyongesa Wanyama is a man of many talents, a full professor of music, specializing in Africa ethnomusiology and Africa museology at Kabarak University, Nakuru, Kenya. He has been the founding dean of the School of Music and Media, initially the School of Music and Performing Arts, since the year August 2015. His exceptional skills in music and his unwavering commitment to education, research, and cultural preservation have earned him an accolades of recognition locally and internationally. Professor Wanyama holds a certificate in education from Mosoriot Teachers College, a diploma in education, first class from a diploma in education, first class from Kisii College, a Bachelor of Arts and Philosophy from Moi University, and a PhD in ethnomusicology, musicology with specialization in African musicology. Music is complex. From the University of Pretoria, South Africa. Before moving to Kabarak University, he served as the panel chairman of the panel that drafted music courses for the School of Music and Media. The program spanned from certificate, diploma, bachelor's, master's, and PhD levels. His passion for research and documentation led him to establish Utafiti Foundation Publishers, a research and documentation center in Eldoret, Kenya. He is the founder and the executive director of the center and serves as its chief editor. The foundation provides a platform for researchers and scholars to document and preserve African music, art, and culture. Professor Wanyama has authored several books, chapters, and peer-reviewed and referred journal articles on African music and culture. He has published 6 books, 18 book chapters, and 50 journal articles. In recognition of his outstanding contribution to education, research, culture, and musical arts education in Kenya, Africa, and beyond, Professor Wanyama was awarded the Head of State Commendation Award in December 2013 by the 4th President of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, at State House, Nairobi. The award was a testament to his commitment to education and research. Professor Wanyama has contributed to the growth of education and research in Africa as an external examiner. He has shared his expertise with students and scholars from different parts of Africa, helping them to achieve their academic goals through research, academic writing, and scholarly publishing. He has supervised and examined over 30 postgraduate dissertations and is an external examiner at several universities in Zimbabwe, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, and Uganda. Last but not least, Professor Wanyama's epitome to contribution to research and publication was realized 13 years ago when he founded the Utafiti Foundation Research and Documentation Center in Eldoret, Kenya. The research center focuses on academic publication in the form of books and journal publication. To this day, the foundation houses 9 journals. Professor Wanyama is the executive director, the book editor-in-chief, and the journal manager at Utafiti Foundation. He is the immediate former editor-in-chief of the Kabarak Journal of Research and Innovation. He also managed the development and establishment of the Impact Journal hosted by Africa International University. For the last 2 years, he has been the editor-in-chief of the University Journal, TUJ, hosted by Doctoral Association of Eastern Africa. Please join me with a round of applause to invite our very own distinguished Professor Mellitus Nyongesa Wanyama. Karibu, Professor.
Thank you, Mr. Mbatia, for that glorious introduction. And I feel honored and humbled when I hear some of those achievements, which means there are others he has not mentioned, but those are the key. Yeah, so nevertheless, I'm glad to be here to perform this ritual because it is part and parcel of academicians. And I'm glad the house is full with enthusiastic students of ours and maybe from other schools to listen to me. I chose this title because of its relevance to us, seasoned scholars and budding scholars. Because artificial intelligence, as you are aware, is with us and will stay with us for a while. So that is the topic of my discussion or presentation, efficacy of artificial intelligence in teaching and learning music. Is going to be presented in the form of a short discussion, which means we are not going to provide or prescribe any answers, but we are going to open up for further discussion. What is AI? Of course, we know it as artificial intelligence. Why artificial? You can read for yourself. You can just go over there. The simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems, which means machines represent humans. And you know what computers do is that they fasten the work and also sometimes they generate new material which we would not be able to do. It requires the foundation of specialized hardware and software for writing and training machine learning algorithms. And as it is projected there, it incorporates the use of languages like Python, Java, etc., which means there is a resemblance to this programming languages, but at an advanced level. AI programming focuses on cognitive skills that include the following. Learning is an aspect of AI programming. It focuses on acquiring data and creating rules to turn it into actionable information. The next is reasoning, an aspect of AI focusing on choosing the right algorithm or permutations to reach a desired outcome. And self-correction is an aspect of AI that continually refines or fine-tuning the algorithms and ensure they provide the most accurate results. In fact, as we speak now, I was in a conversation recently with a friend of mine in Germany who was telling me of how AI is being fine-tuned to correct what are perceived as disadvantages so that it can be used positively rather than negatively, so that it can only give you data, the correct data, and be used to analyze it, but not to do what you are supposed to do 100%. And that is where we come in with creativity here. The aspect of AI that uses neural networks, rule-based systems, statistical methods, and other AI techniques to generate new images, text, music, and ideas. Before I come here, I want to ask a question. Can you tell me the platforms, AI platforms that you know? Just at random. AI platform, yes? Chat, GPT, Hypotenuse. Yes, quickly. Bard. Bing. Yes, we are AI generation, isn't it? Yeah, say it. Or you are just like us in the... No, take care, I should not overtake you because, yes. Okay, now, maybe this topic then is very necessary, Mr. Wanderi, because we have to share now. These are some of the AI platforms, according to what I found out. Is that important? Yes. So, AI is here with us. Go out there, and check. These are some few. I shared 10 here. And that. But let us go back. The most common one I have heard of is the first one, Chat GPT. Tell me the full form of Chat GPT. We are learning. You see, that's why I'm here. Yes. But you know it, and you know what it does, isn't it? So, what have you missed? That's why I have to present this paper, for you to know that you don't know that you don't know. Yes, but that is going to end today because you will know. Now, so you see, I want new knowledge. Look at that. Chat generative pre-trained transformer. Language model-based chatbot developed by OpenAI and launched on November 30th, 2022 that enables users to refine and steer conversation towards desired length, format, style, level of detail, and language used. It is capable of generating human-like text based on context and past conversations. What I'm telling you is that when you come across these short forms, try to go to Google even and find out what they are, so that you are, you are an academician. You are the people to explain to other people, not other people to explain to you. You lead from the front. Find out. Now we go straight to effects of AI, now that we know what it is, on musical arts education, especially in Africa. And I will start with the negative effects, not because I want to scare anybody, but it's based on the negative effects that we look for positive effects. Lack of human interaction. AI systems can replace human instructors and musicians, leading to a lack of direct human interaction in learning process. This may result in students missing out on the social and emotional benefits of interacting with human mentors. A case in point is yesterday when Mr. Thabo Susa was presenting here. When in the process of inviting him, he told me he was not going to come. He will do it online. Something next to like this chat GPT. I told him, no, you cannot. You come on the ground. And yes, he would have presented, but the interaction would have lacked, isn't it? So we are looking at, apart from giving information, what about how you are going to interact face to face? You can look at me and tell that I'm very confident in presenting this. And I'm interacting with you, and you can tell. But on the online, I can even just use a voice without my face. Over-reliance on technology. AI systems in music education can limit creativity and originality, as students may rely too heavily on suggestions and guidance provided by AI system. So you just become a robot of some kind. Access and equity issues. Not all schools or universities are blessed, like, for example, Kabarak University, where we have everything, every machine, Institutions, not all of them have access to advanced AI technologies, which can create a digital divide between institutions with access to these resources and those without. Standardization of music. AI systems are programmed to follow specific patterns and structures, which can lead to homogenization, which means making everything equal. Homogenization of music and limit the diversity and richness, especially related to musical traditions in Africa, which are very flexible and more of spontaneous type. I went to these Bomas of Kenya and I saw a table there. I think is an AI-related table that is purporting to preserve African music, but I think music is preserved abroad. Which country is that? Sweden. And we only watch what Sweden has stored from Africa. Yes, and they said you have to have control to do it. But okay, they have tried, but that is a product of AI. Job loss. AI systems in music education can lead to job loss for human instructors and musicians who are replaced by machines. This leads to losing expertise, and knowledge transfer can only be transmitted through direct human interaction. So, what about the positive effects? One, access to educational resources. AI can facilitate access to educational resources, including digital libraries of sheet music and recordings, online sources, and educational apps, making it easier for students and educators in Africa to access and learn from high-quality musical education resources. I think we are trying it here, and Mr. Wanderi is doing that. because we have purchased some software already. Customized learning experiences. AI can help create personalized learning experiences that can cater to individual student needs and learning systems. AI algorithms can analyze student performance data to identify areas of weaknesses and recommend personalized learning materials or strategies. Improved music production. AI tools can enhance music production, allowing for more efficient and accurate editing, mixing, and mastering. This can improve the quality of African music produced and expand its global reach. Fourth, innovative music creation. AI can help African musicians explore new creative possibilities in music creation. For example, AI-generated music can be used as a starting point for composition, or AI tools can be used to experiment with new soundscapes and musical structures. The last positive effect is preservation of cultural heritage. AI, is there another presentation? AI can be used to preserve traditional African musical forms and styles by digitizing and analyzing traditional music recordings. AI can help preserve the rich musical heritage of Africa with future generations. Now, that leads to at the end of my presentation, and I want you to guess what my recommendation would be. What would be my recommendation? Given that, yes. Given what I have said, I want. Yes, you, yes, yes, yes. Yes. Let's say, what would I recommend in view of that? Yes? Yeah, who was here all through? Yes, in yellow. What do you think? Mm-hmm. You must have been a keen listener. Yes, in hijab, yellow again. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, you. And next. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Before we start gender balance, yes. Hmm? Yeah. Yes.
I think you would recommend us to use AI carefully.
Why carefully?
Because when we use it recklessly, it might check our positions.
Good. Take it to Paul. Is that Paul? Take the mic to Paul. Now gender balance has started, yeah?
Okay, I think your recommendation would be figuring out ways where we can put, how do I say it? We get the government into the whole thing so that we figure out ways people won't be able to lose their jobs. And as well, so that we can be able to use AI as well as people still having their jobs.
Good. Give the next gentleman. Next. On the line. Here. On your line. Here. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think what I was supposed to say was has been already mentioned by my fellow colleague here.
Yeah. Can you explain it?
Okay, the explanation is we should use our eye in the correct purpose, because if we don't use our eyes well, we might end up interpreting what is not correct.
Okay, thank you. I can see now my objective was achieved because most people followed. This is my single recommendation, that we should integrate technology in musical arts teaching and learning, including selective use of AI in our teaching and learning music, but we can extend to also other subjects. I think it was important that I share that to start that discussion, not to give any prescribed solutions. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present.
We can do better than that for Professor. What a very inciting topic, artificial intelligence, especially in the area of teaching and learning music. So we quickly want to move to the next presenter. I know we may have questions, but because the topic presented by Professor is closely related to the one that Dr. Michael Ndonye will be presenting, I would request that we preserve our questions for both presenters until Dr. Michael Ndonye makes his presentation, and then we will ask questions. We also want to encourage our online participants to ask questions. Maybe they can post their question in the chat sections, and Mr. Thuku will help us read them. You can post questions, chats, as well as comments on the presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite Dr. Michael Ndonye for his presentation. But before I do so, again, allow me to read his academic profile and just but a few of his academic achievements. So Dr. Michael Ndonye is a senior lecturer in communication and media at Kabarak University. He is the founding and substantive head of Department of Mass Communication, which is in the School of Music and Media at Kabarak University. Dr. Michael Ndonye holds a PhD in Communication and Media from Laikipia University, a Masters of Journalism and Mass Communication from Egerton University, and Bachelor of Arts Honors at Egerton University. He has also a certificate in digital journalism from Reuters. He is an opinion columnist for the Standard newspaper, where he writes on the presidential politics, strategy and communication, elections, and allied topical issues. As a public intellectual, he has featured as a commentator on BBC, Kenya Television Network, KTN, Spice FM, and recently our NTV Live. Dr. Michael Ndonye also runs two digital newspaper, Nax.Today and County News Digital, which publishes local and international news. The newspapers offer a platform for his students in the Department of Mass Communication to write. He is the managing editor at Editon Consortium, publishing that publishes 37 peer-reviewed scholarly journals. Dr. Michael Ndonye is also an editor with Athens Journal of Mass Media and Communications, Ghana Journal of Linguistics, and Kabarak Journal of Research and Innovation, among other peer-reviewed scholarly journals. Dr. Ndonye is also an editor with, that I've read. He is the 2017 Governance Institute laureate for the Council for the Development of Social Science Research in Africa, CODESRIA, headquarters in Dakar, Senegal. Dr. Ndonye is widely published in the area of media, communication, and artificial intelligence. He has published over 30 journal articles. His second most read journal article on Google Scholar, very related to the one he will do today, is titled Mass-Mediated Feminist Scholarship Failure in Africa, Normalized Body Objectification as Artificial Intelligence. Dr. Ndonye has also published 3 books. His latest book, Political Economy Reporting, Presidential Politics, published by Utafiti Foundation, is awaiting to be launched in a few months. He has also published 3 books chapters. His latest book chapter, co-authored with Professor Melitus Wanyama, entitled Kenyan Media Industry, Digitize or Disappear, published by Palgrave Macmillan, came out a month ago in the volume titled Africa Media Space and Globalization. His article today, entitled The Rise of Artificial Intelligence, Powered Language Models and the Adaptability in the Media Value Chain in Kenya, is a project he is working on, focusing on the emergence of artificial intelligence and focuses on the place of ChatGPT and BARD AI on the media industry transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, may we give a round of applause to our distinguished Dr. Michael Ndonye as he comes to present his paper. Karibu Daktari.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bhatia, for that elaborate introduction. That's just a part of it. I'll say, like Professor said, that sometimes we realize we do a lot, but it is good for our students to know where we are coming from. So I want to also assure you that I never consulted with Professor Wanyama on this until this morning. I don't know why I never checked on the program on his topic, but it is good that coincidentally we thought of the same thing. So allow me just to ask the tech team to project my presentation. Is not going to be very long. I'm going to be very short. And that is it. The rise of artificial intelligence, powered language models, and adaptability in the media value chain in Kenya. I think it was around 2017 when I started researching on artificial intelligence. That was the time when there arose the robotic industry. And if you can remember that time, there were rising robots in the industry. That is when we heard of the ones like Samantha, if you can remember. And I tried to see how that industry was established with a capitalist perspective or capitalist motive. That is what I ventured into the other paper. Actually, it's my second most read paper on Google Scholar, and quoted by most people. So, yeah, let's continue. So, I think those are some of the things that we are likely to look into. ChatGPT, BARD AI, Bing AI, and BARD AI. I will concentrate mostly on ChatGPT and BARD AI, which is still on the being tested. It has not yet been fully released. I think Google are doing some background tests. But let me get some quotes on artificial intelligence. It is good to know how people feel about it. And in Professor in his in-depth presentation, he has mentioned a bit of things, and maybe when you are responding, a bit of the feelings about artificial intelligence. Someone said a year spent in artificial intelligence is enough to make one believe in God. Hello. Is that true? Just a year with AI will make you believe in God. And this is what I usually tell people. If you think science goes beyond God, can you tell a scientist to make a machine that walks out there collecting grass and then it gives you out milk without power, without it being powered? Have you gotten that? And be a scientist. Let scientists make such a machine that walks around, collects grass, and then it produces out. So in, grass, out, milk, without power. That is when you realize God was indeed is more of us in terms of what we can imagine. Another person said this, that was Alan Palis. You have to talk about the Terminator if you are talking about artificial intelligence. I actually think that that's way off. I don't think that an artificial intelligent system that has superhuman intelligence will be violent. I do think that it will disrupt our culture. And for those of us who know about the Terminator, it's a film. It was a series, Bwana, The Terminator. Yeah, it was a series acted by the former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Kimoda. Kimoda Dongani. That was Gray Scott. Now, before we work on artificial intelligence, another person, Steve Polyak, said, before we work on artificial intelligence, why don't we do something about natural stupidity? Yeah. Because if national, anyway, you understand the joke, eh? Yeah, good. Let's go on. So we are talking about media industry, value chain. This is what it means. In this study, it pertains news value chain and involves processes which are involved in the production of news, starting from data gathering to the delivery, which is the dissemination of the news items. Remember, in the media industry, our product, the one we sell, the one which is consumed by our consumers, is the news, all the information that we produce. So whatever happens between the start of the production of that product, the process of collecting data or information, processing it, and then disseminating it, what we call broadcasting, that is what we are calling in this paper the media industry value chain, in that particular aspect of it. And the artificial intelligence, I think it has been defined by Professor, is a branch of computer science that deals with the creation of intelligent agents. And these are systems that can reason, systems that can learn, systems that can act autonomously without the control of human beings. And artificial intelligence is not actually is not new. It started way back many decades ago. It's only that it was developing in stages, including the calculator you use. That calculator, you feed in data and then it gives you tabulations. Artificial intelligence has been evolving over many decades, and we need to understand it from that perspective. Even what we are calling the language, AI-powered language models, it has not started with the ChatGPT. It started even with the Google search. You search, and the Google is able to collect information and give you some data, but it was not able to chat. That is why now, in the last few months, from the time we elected our government, before even we elected our government, that was 30th of November, things have happened. And I was telling the other, a friend of mine the other day, that PhDs now, those of us who have earned PhD, that was the end of actually doing literature review using our hands. Currently, I don't think there is a candidate of PhD or masters who is going to do a lot of work. You just go to ChatGPT or you go to Bard AI, you give it instruction, and it will give you all what you want. Next. The objectives, of course, is to explore the future of AI in the media industry. I have a lot of interest in this, and that is why I said it was said this is a work in progress, because you cannot just conclude it today. You can conclude it today, and then tomorrow you realize new things have come. So you have to collect enough information so as to make accurate predictions. It will discuss the potential benefits, of course. I think that one we heard also from Professor. The challenges that need to be addressed, the implications of AI-powered language models for the future of the media industry and practice. Actually, what is called AI-powered language models, those are the ones now we are calling AI chatbots, like the Bard AI, like the Bing AI, like the ChatGPT, etc., etc. Those are language-powered models. The article will draw on a range of sources, of course, including academic research, industry reports, and media coverage. It will conclude by providing some recommendations for that. And maybe before we go ahead, I want you to show what this thing can do for some of you who have never tried it. Maybe I would request Mr. Doku to share. Maybe you can open Bard AI. We can try. It is there. Good. Either of them. We are chatting. Just ask it. Hi. How are you? Because we want to experience how it works. Just shortly. You can chat. Yeah, honorable. I want you to check the number. Imesema nini? Yeah, how can I help you today? So you know you can even try to, yeah, kindly. Yeah, for online purpose. Yeah, you can read what it is.
Okay. It has said, okay. So I have asked, hi, how are you? And it has replied, hello, I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feelings, but I'm here and ready to assist you. How can I help you today?
Yes, okay. You can think of something else you can feed it. For example, can I just ask it, can you generate a news article for me? Because this is media. Yeah, let's try to see whether it can do some news and how long it can take, instead of sending you to Mogotio. Okay?
Okay. The reply is, of course, I can help generate a news article for you. Please provide me with a topic or subject you'd like the article to be about, and if there are any specific details or points you want to include in the article, let me know. This information will help me come up with a more relevant and informative article for you.
Good. I want you to note this. When you greeted it, it gave you a disclaimer first. But for this one, it is not giving you a disclaimer. It is telling you just bring the information. What do you want me to write about? Okay, let me get from you someone to think of something you would want to write about, and we see whether it will do it and how long it will take. Just any. Even if it is a soft, of course, a soft story for this case. Just someone? Yeah.
Why not ask it what it thinks about AI in the media, in the media
It will start now duplicating my article.
Okay. Are you trying to confess something? Are you confessing? Did you use it?
I've already shared it through email. Get this. I already shared it through email, right? It is already in the internet. So that is what we call AI language powered. It will collect it. You understand? And you remember there was a time even the State House was accused of using AI to generate president's speech. You remember? Yeah. So we want to have something. Maybe just an article quickly. We don't want to. Hata ile swali umepewa na Mr. Mbatia. Yeah, because you are using it. You know, these days we know what you are doing. Just a question. Okay, let me get you one. Okay, most of the read articles today, most such articles are about personal finance. You know that? And the second most searched articles are about health. And the third one is about, of course, the real estate in Kenya. So can we get a question about personal finance? Yes, we can get one. Okay, I will tell it to analyze a book we all read, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Can you just tell it to give us 5 lessons we learn from Rich Dad, Poor Dad? 5 lessons. Maybe I want to write a review of that particular book, so I want to generate an article for that purpose. 5 lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Click it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's already done. It has done a wonderful 5 points. The first point to some.
Okay, I don't think I'll read the whole.
You can read the first highlighted.
Yeah.
Just the points, because it must give in points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one is the importance of financial education.
The importance of financial education, 1.
The second one is assets versus liabilities.
Assets versus liabilities.
The power of passive income.
The power of passive income.
Don't work for money, make money work for you.
Do not work for money, make money work for you.
And the last one is entrepreneurship and taking calculated risks.
Exactly. And you see, it has drawn even the 4th point from the richest man in Babylon. You know that book? Yeah. So that is how we say it is to generate an article. Why are we training journalists? Chelsea, why do we need to go to collect news? Because you can try with it at very many others.
I guess the difference comes in, when you go and collect news, there's authenticity. There's that authenticity
Yes.
and originality that comes with collecting news other than using AI to generate your news stories.
Exactly, collecting news.
Yes.
Hard news only. Because for soft news, which constitutes 80% of our journalism, is soft. Hello? Only 20% is hard news. And within that 20%, there is advertisements. So it's close to 10% of news. Because whenever you listen to a news bulletin, it's only 1 or 2 stories which are hard news. Or there is no hard news at all. You understand? So most companies, I don't know what you are thinking about when it comes to that. Let's now, thank you very much for that. Maybe you can go back and see what that brings. Yeah, we go back to the presentation. So, the media industry in Kenya is undergoing a rapid transformation amidst the rise of AI. And artificial intelligence is one of the most disruptive technologies, therefore, of our time, with a profound impact on the media industry. And this is what, if you read that, the book chapter we did with Professor Wanyama on the media, either they digitize or they disappear. We were now basing it on that argument. Digitization is here. There is nothing media can do apart from adapt. If we are going to go against digitization, it is at our own risk. You refuse technology and you fail like Nokia. Maybe you can read about Nokia, how Nokia failed, and the rise, of course, of what we call Apple. The emergence of AI chatbots comes in handy in automating tasks, personalizing content, and creating new forms of media. Of course, I think we already talked about that. Next, AI-powered news bots are now able to generate news stories. Okay, we have already seen that. They are, the recommender system can suggest personalized content to users. We also have AI-powered news anchors with human-like appearance, who is fed data that it can read using text-to-speech technology. And these ones have been used since 2019 in India. Actually, in India, there are media which actually are just feeding news into news presenters, robots, and they read better. They seem to read better than human beings. Okay. And the industry is also increasingly adopting all AI news presenters, AI sign language interpreters, and show hosts in different parts of the world. Okay? Yeah, so remember what we are not seeing are news reporters, but the anchors are there, right? The interpreters, the sign language interpreters are there. And even the hosts are there. So I want us to see, as students in mass communication, what is it that we are left with? Okay, next. Therefore, AI-powered language models like ChatGPT and Google Bard can generate human-like text based on context and past conversations. The future of AI in the media industry is therefore full of possibilities to fear and uncertainties. However, AI has the potential to make the media industry more efficient, more personalized, and more engaging, while also disrupting the media ecology, right? What is therefore artificial intelligence? This is it. Research has been highly successful in developing effective techniques for solving a wide range of problems, from game playing to medical diagnosis. Today, many people are receiving the emergence of ChatGPT and related artificial intelligence with suspicion. And the easiest task that the ChatGPT can perform is generating text content in a wide range of flavors, from different writing styles to subject matter, expertise, and languages. And I think that is it. Now, the person you are seeing there is this is not a human being. Okay? That is Odisha TV's YouTube channel. That is called Lisa, the Indian broadcaster's AI newscaster. Hello? Yeah, that's not a human being, but it's a newscaster. In July 30th, 2023, presenting news. Okay? Can you beat her? According to Hanish 2023, when it comes to automating tasks, creating content, developing solutions for particular projects, ChatGPT has been extensively tested by the public. AI is a rapid evolving field with the potential to revolutionize many industries. By July this year, News Corp was already using AI to produce 3,000 Australian local news stories per week. Yes. The same month, the tech giant Google pitched major media outlets on AI that could help produce news. So, journalists, actually media houses, are now hiring Google AI instead of journalists. Are we getting? That is where we are. Sasa usianze kusema sisi kwisha. Now we are done. And anyway, AI has the potential to automate tasks that I think we have said that this could lead to significant productivity gains in the media industry as well as the creation of new. AI could also be used to personalize content for users, making the media experience more engaging and relevant. That is what AI can do. Now, this is what I was talking about. It applies to media practice, already being used in a variety of ways in the media industry. For example, news bots are now used to generate news stories and all that. In 2019, that must be 2019, Google partnered with the Police Media think tank at the London School of Economics and Political Science to create a journalism AI. Leave alone ChatGPT. Now they are creating a journalism AI, okay, that will help the news industry to leverage artificial intelligence in more innovative ways. Now even the ability to collect hard news. That's what journalism AI will do. Potential benefits, of course, I think I will not belabor this because there is, of course, a lot of possibilities that come with AI, the new forms of media, and all those benefits. Most of them were mentioned by Professor. I think you will be able to read this later. Next, the time is not on our side. What it cannot do, there are 3 things to note. That most creators run into trouble with this because they let the application do most of the heavy lifting. Against the chagrin of many, when you generate stories through AI, you will have also to spend time to make it human-like, okay? So it still does not have all the solutions. It can only work from a general frame of references, already the reference which is on the internet, and that is why it doesn't know an accident that has just happened until you feed that information on the net. Let's go to the next one. I am almost through. Therefore, it requires a lot of fact-checking. It cannot generate real-time data. Next. 2 major journalistic dilemmas. Should writers disclose to their clients that content is written with the ChatGPT and not an original work? Okay. Yeah. Dhuku was raising something. Should I disclose that whether I used ChatGPT to generate this? Yeah, of course. I tried. Actually, much of I asked some questions through BARD, some of the information I'm getting here. Actually, around 20% of this paper, I asked the questions from BARD AI. If I wanted, I would have written the whole paper. Actually, I can write the whole paper using ChatGPT or BARD AI. And nowhere people will take me. Of course, there are issues of bias, job displacement, privacy, but those ones, they are here to stay. There is nothing we can do about it. Whether we complain or not, there is nothing we can do about it. It's technology, it has come. We have to live with it. Next. So is it replacing? Yes. That is a newsroom. See the newsroom? Are you seeing people there? Are you seeing Maina? Are you seeing yourself there? That's a newsroom. The future of the media industry is likely to be shaped by AI. And therefore, it has the potential to make the media industry, of course, more efficient, more personalized, more engaging. That is from a capitalist perspective. Because we are living in a capitalist 21st century world. Let's conclude this conclusion. 2, the future of AI in the media industry is full of possibilities. We cannot deny that. AI has the potential to make the media industry more efficient, more personalized, and more engaging. Why am I leaving the negative part? Because there is nothing we can do about it. We either adopt it or will be passed by it. So it is upon us to know, how are we going to be engaged in the AI? Are we going to be experts in AI? Because AI, above all, it will require us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndonye, for quite some information to ponder on. As we continue, please save your questions. We'll come to question and answer session, but before the question and answer session, we'll have one more presentation, and after the presentation, we have some few questions. I know you've reserved some questions on AI, maybe, if you've got some. And listen keenly to the next presentation to have some questions. So, someone told me that you don't need magic to predict the future. You only need artificial intelligence. Can I predict something for you? I won't, because I've got natural intelligence. So the next presentation will be from Mr. Jesse Wanderi, and he'll be presenting to us on harmonic color and expressiveness in African art music, a comparative analysis of Yape Mgongo and Huruma by Jumeriso Voices. I don't know if I've read it correctly. Is it Jumeriso or Jumariso? He'll tell us. So, Mr. Jesse Wanderi is the acting head of department for the music and performing arts. He's no longer acting, just coming in right now on my news desk. So, yeah, it's coming in because I don't think he knew about it. He knew it. He never told me. Okay, fine. So he teaches music theory and performance, and he's currently pursuing his PhD in musicology with an interest in music theory and expressiveness. He has taught in the university setup for a whopping 17 years and is engaged in community choral engagements. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got no much to add about Mr. Jesse Wanderi. And so a round of applause as he comes to present. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to present a small research that I did at the beginning of this year. And my interests are more on music theory and expressiveness. And my topic is harmonic color and expressiveness, particularly when we look at the African art music. There are different types of African music and genres, but I'm interested in the art music that is associated with African idioms, what we call the African art music. And to look into this, I did a comparative analysis of two pieces, two African pieces, Yape Mgongo and Huruma. Because of time, I'm not going to play them here. In music, by the way, each music piece, like the one that was given by Ix and the others, is actually a piece of information. In art music, it's slightly different from pop music. Pop music generally is more for entertainment purposes. That's why in pop music, we don't really mind what they are saying. You know, they can have what we call vocables, nonsensical sounds, but we still enjoy it. We don't think about them. But in art music, it's a medium of passing information. And each piece, including what Eric Wainaina did, is actually considered as a piece of information. But now, decoding this kind of information from these pieces of art is a very delicate act. Why? Because of the dynamic qualitative nature of the art itself. And majority of the art music are actually inclined towards as what I would call a hybrid of Western art qualities, namely harmony. And Kostka actually defines and says that Western music is purely defined through harmony. Anything that is Western in terms of music, or majority of the Western music art forms are actually defined through harmony. And since now the art music is inclined towards the Western harmony, then the objective for this study was to explore the effects at the perception level, because you can explore the effect at a deeper level. But the objective of this study was to explore the effect at the perception level of the advanced harmonic syntax in enhancing expressiveness in two of selected Kiswahili works by Jomireso. Now, the data collection, this study used purposively selected respondents who are given a structured questionnaire to collect data. And I used comparative analysis to be able to analyze the data that I collected from the structured questionnaire. And as I had said, that the study explored the perception of what we would call advanced harmonic syntax or chord structures in relation to expressiveness in two of the Jamireso voices, namely Yape Mgongo and Huruma. Now, the materials I used the cross-sectional survey design, and in this survey, out of the contacted 30 respondents, 22 responded, which represents 73.3%. And the participants that were targeted are participants who are currently engaged in assorted musical activities. And once they were contacted, consent was actually acquired, and it's after the consent was acquired that they were given the 2 listening excerpts and 1 questionnaire. Next. Now, the questionnaire had two sections. The first section was to get the data of their musical experience, their musical exposure, their knowledge, and their skills. This was important. Why? Because the questions that were being asked in the questionnaire required a minimum knowledge in terms of music. There were more, they required the respondents to have some musical knowledge, ideally. So section A of the questionnaire was to actually check their experience, their exposure to music, and their knowledge and skills in music. The second section included the evaluation by these respondents on the parameters of comparison. 4 parameters of comparison. 1, melody. 2, harmony. 3, expressiveness. And 4, form. Now, this questionnaire collected 2 types of data, the quantitative data and the qualitative data. For the quantitative data, the data was entered and verified by the SPSS 23.0. And the data analysis employed descriptive and inferential statistics that made use of mean, standard deviation, frequencies, and percentages. And after that had been done, the Spearman correlation tests, which is used to check the significance of the relationship between the issues that you're actually looking at, was actually carried out. Then the qualitative data was actually analyzed and recorded verbatim to make sure that it relates to the quantitative. Now, there was a bias mitigation because of the 2 pieces could actually, when you have 2 pieces, there is a likelihood that there are various factors that could determine the interpretation of these pieces. But to mitigate this kind of bias, the samples were taken, number 1, from the same group so that, you know, different groups have different dynamics. By the way, different performing groups have different dynamics. So they were taken from the same group to make sure that the performers are exactly the same. 2, the same quality of production. All right, they were produced using the same quality of production in terms of sound, in terms of, you know, music production and video production. And then they used the same type of rendition, just to make sure that other aspects outside what we are looking at did not affect that. Now, when you look at the harmonic analysis of the 2 pieces, Yape Mgongo has a higher entropy to a harmonic syntax that is quite advanced. And these are some of the kind of harmonic elements that are used by Yape Mgongo. 1, implied modulations. 2, the secondary functions. And 3, the modal mixtures. But the Huruma is more based on a diatonic harmonic framework. But in in Huruma, there is one secondary dominant, which is more of a cadential ornamentation other than function, you know, a harmonic function. And these were the results. Number 1, table 3.1 shows you the data of the experience, knowledge of the respondents. The number of, and the respondents were grouped into beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And this was based on their duration of their musical experience and choral experience, which was grouped between 0 to 2 years, 3 to 4 years, 5 to 6 years, and 7 years and above. 0 to 2 years is the duration that you take to do a diploma in music. So ideally, that's a beginning point. So we use that threshold. And in that, you can look at the percentages. Acquisition of musical skills in terms of percentages. Music is acquired formally or also through communal participation. 81% of the respondents had formal training. Musical literacy and experience in terms of percentage basic around 18.2, intermediate 50%, and advanced around 31.8. Musical skills acquired during this period include choir membership, composing, arranging, playing instrument, choral training, and teaching. Next. So from this data, these are the results. Musical experience of the musical experience through training, 86%, substantial. Community engagement and participation, 45%. Musical literacy at intermediate and advanced level, 86%, 0.4%. Choristering for more than 3 years, 72.8%. All respondents have a choral experience of 3 years and above. Composition experience above 3 years, 86.4% of the respondents. Arranging above 3 years, 68.2% of the respondents. Playing a musical instrument for more than 3 years, 86.1%. Training choral groups, 67.9% of the respondents. What does this data tell us? That the above data shows that the respondents had the capacity, capability, and the experience necessary to give credible answers to the questions that were asked. Pie chart 3.2 looks at the comparative analysis results. This is what happens. 3.2, slightly above 3/4 of the respondents, giving around 81%, highlighted Yape Mugongo as the most expressive excerpt of the two. Yape Mugongo stood out as the most expressive excerpt. 3.2, 3.3 represented the weighting of the various musical elements in Yape Mugongo, all right, which was actually most expressive. And in this, you'll discover out of the 4 elements, comparative elements, harmony was the most, or was highlighted as the most expressive element in this test, giving you 67%. Next. 3.4 compares the means of the 4 musical elements for both excerpts, Yape Mugongo and Huruma. And in this excerpt, what do you notice? That the average, the means of Yape Mugongo always scores higher. 8 out of 10 always scores higher out of 10. Next. That error. Okay, 3.5 looks at what you call the means and standard deviation of the comparison between the 2 excerpts at the 3 levels. The beginners, the intermediate, and the advanced, all right? That gives you the means and the standard deviation for both Yape Mugongo and Huruma. Next. Now, these are the summaries of those tables. The distribution of the respondents revealed that at the basic level, which is around 18.2%, and intermediate level 54%, and advanced level is around 27%. For the beginners, harmony stood out as the element that contributed most to the expressiveness of Yape Mugongo, with a means of 8.7 out of 10. 2, the mean for Huruma was comparatively lower, with its standard deviation higher, therefore showing a spaced difference around the mean by the respondents, ideally. So there was less coherence in terms of agreement when it came to Huruma in terms of the mean. At the intermediate level, harmony, again, for Yape Mugongo had the highest mean of 8 out of 10 and a standard deviation of plus minus 0.74 in comparison to the Huruma, which had a means of 6.75 out of 10 and a standard deviation of plus minus 1.71. This is an indication that there was more consensus among respondents on harmony than other musical elements. In Huruma, the other elements scored higher as contributing to the expressiveness of the music than did harmony. In the advanced level, harmony scores the highest compared to all other levels with a mean of 9.33 out of 10 on Yape Mugongo on Yape Mugongo and a standard deviation of plus or minus 0.5. Overall, the means of elements across all proficiency levels are higher in Yape Mugongo, with harmony scoring 8.69 out of 10 overall against Huruma with an overall mean of 6.61 out of 10. And the standard deviation of Yape Mugongo are slightly lower, meaning there was more consensus than they were in Huruma. Additionally, the means for harmony and expressiveness as elements of comparison are highest in Yape Mugongo and seem to shoulder each other, therefore implying that there is a possibility or possible relationship between these two elements. While Yape Mugongo was rated as the most expressive of the two excerpts, harmony scored 67% as the element that contributed most to expressiveness. Of the 4 musical parameters used, ladies and gentlemen, expressiveness of the two excerpts, about the expressiveness of the two excerpts, harmony stood out as the element that contributed more to expressiveness. Next. Table 3.6 shows the overall mean and standard deviation of the two for the 4 elements that were actually looked at. Next. This is the Spearman's correlation test that was conducted to check whether the difference that was there between the two was actually substantive. All right, that's what we use the Spearman correlation to do. Let's go down, sorry. And from the Spearman correlation test, there is a significant relationship between harmony as a composition element and expressiveness. Next. That was quantitative. What about the qualitative? The qualitative findings were used to complement the findings for the quantitative. The respondents described in their own words the element that was most outstanding for from the two excerpts. And harmony was actually highlighted as the element that contributed most to Yape Mugongo expressiveness. Let's continue. These are some of the qualitative comments that we got from the research verbatim. The way they sing shows that they understand what they are singing. You know, in the Kenyan context, when someone says, hey, they know what they are doing. They know what they are doing. In fact, that is an inference to some advanced cognitive process when it comes to music making. The notes are soothing and expressive, referring to harmony. Harmony notes were well arranged, soothing and lively. Next. The way it ends with a different harmony and melody makes it stand out. While another one noted that the harmony or the sounds are very unique. All right, there's very unique inclusion of second functions in the harmonic structure that makes it stand out. Harmony. Next, the last one. The harmonies in Yape Mugongo are captivating. Another one said the modulations and secondary functions in this song were resolved convincingly. The introduction of contrasting material near the end crowned the recording. Another one says the harmony was quite rich and carefully utilized. And the last one said the harmony and progression of chords is very expressive and impressive. This Corrigal says this, that skill in the key and harmony in Western music and art music is developed through exposure, but training accelerates that process. all respondents, 95%, had musical and choral experience above 3 years. This qualified them to understand the topic of the study before raising the therefore raising the confidence of their responses. The respondents were faced with 2 excerpts of contrasting harmonic structures. Next. So, advanced harmonic syntax in Nyape Mgongo has some form of entropy within the coherent syntax which yielded positive perception. And therefore, from this, there is a relationship between multiple dimensions when interacting with one another when it comes to musical elements. And often, that interaction tends to affect each other. That's Prince et al., 2009. And therefore, with harmony being the most outstanding musical element in Nyape Mugongo, there seems also to be a corresponding positive effect on its melody too. Now, in a traditionally diatonic environment, because this was carried in a traditionally, within the artworks of East Africa, majorly are diatonic. They are diatonic in terms of harmonic structures and syntax. So in a traditionally diatonic environment, predominantly diatonic environment, the use of chromatic harmony structures within a coherent harmonic syntax in Nyape Mugongo enhanced its expressiveness. I'll just want to read something here. African art music. Western music has developed structural sonorities and syntax that define harmony, and African art music is syncretic in nature and therefore borrows some harmonic attributes from the Western music. Now, Traynor or Trainer, whichever, I don't know who that guy is, says that violating this harmonic syntax raises emotiveness in listeners. And this is corroborated by the next writer, who says that event-related potential brain responses are always smaller when exposed to expected chords compared to unexpected chords. And that is why you will notice that in Nyape Mugongo, this explains why in Nyape Mugongo, the harmonic structure scored the highest because of the advanced harmonic chords and creative processes that were used, which were a bit out of the norm, out of the ordinary, ideally. In conclusion, it is clear that advanced harmonic structures have a bearing on the expressiveness of art music, despite the elements being a recent exploration. This is very common with pop music within this region. It is the recommendation of the researcher that African composers and arrangers should exploit advanced harmonic structures in their creative processes. Why? To be able to enhance the expressiveness vocabulary in art music. Now, to music theorists, teachers, and curriculum developers, the inclusion of advanced harmonic structures in the training of music students and performers is fundamental in expanding their creative and interpretive capacity and capability. Lastly, more studies need to be conducted on the emergent functionality and the meaning ascribed to this advanced harmonic structure continuum in relation to the African creative perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. Another round of applause. I can predict now that a few people in this room love numbers, but the way Mr. Jesse Wanderi broke down those numbers to come up with a comparative analysis of the two is quite impressive. Thank you so much for your presentation. We do appreciate. So at this juncture, I'll welcome Mr. Mbatia for question and answer. It's a question and answer session before we get into a few online presentations. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much. Let's clap for Mr. Murithi. That is wonderful. Joshua is doing a good work indeed. We've been seated for long. Maybe if we could stand a bit. Everybody stand where you are. Please, let's stand. Stretch a bit. I know Mr. Thuku knows how to give us an exercise like you did previously. You want to help us exercise? I loved your... Yes, come here. I want Mr. Thuku to tell us what to do. Just 2 minutes. It's very important to have health break so that we don't find ourselves getting numb. Then, of course, we are going to have a session for question and answers for the last three presentations we've heard. And we have 2 online presenters who are waiting. Please, let's give them audience before we break for lunch. Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you for, though you've ambushed me, but it's fine. Stretching your neck muscle. Yeah, look at your neighbor. Yes, shake their hand. Now get some space around you. Just get a little space around you. Yeah, get some space around you. Yeah, at least arm's length. Eh? Yeah, get some space. Ready? So now, I want us to do a very, very, simple exercise. And I want 2 prefects with me. Nataka wale watu watiaji. Nani mtiaji hapa? Haya, Ikes, kuja. Nataka watu wawili watiaji. And a lady. Very nice. Very, very nice. So now that tuko na watu wawili hapa watiaji. So now, kazi yenu ni kuobserve whoever makes a mistake. Sawa? It doesn't matter who it is. Hata kama ni chairman umlete hapa. Otherwise angejitolea kukuwa mtiaji, si ndio? So now, a very simple exercise. Sawa? Take my instructions as I tell you. Is that clear? In short, do what I say. Sawa? So now, warm your hands kidogo. Warm your hands kidogo. So, Mr. Eric, touch your head. Hey! Sawa? Are we tumeget gist? Sasa twende kabisa. Now warm yourself properly. Yeah, warm kabisa. Haya, touch your knees, touch your toes. Knees, toes, knees. Hapa mbele ya kamera. Sawa? Haya, twende changamsha mikono kidogo. Mr. Wangeri, how are you? Haya. Shika kisigino, kisogo. Akuja hapa mbele asikuje. Sawa. Yes. Okay. Nitatumia nimesema. Ini kisogo. Lugha ya taifa sasa. Huyu jamaa amehepa ni sawa. Tuendelee. Sawa. Nitatumia English. Sawa. Okay. Haya. Touch your back. Touch your head. Touch your back. Head, back, chest, head, back, chest, head, back. Look at me. Very simple. Niangalie. I'm the one giving the Akuje fika hapa. Gongo. Kichwa, gongo, kichwa. Hiyo kichwa.
Doctors mnatufanya.
Okay, now I want us to do a very, very simple exercise. Sawa. Now, the exercise, see, you mentioned numbers. Where is he? Mlisema watu wanapenda numbers hapa. I want to confirm. Sawa. I want to confirm kama ni ukweli people love numbers. Umeelewana? For instance, I just want us to count 1 up to 20. Umeelewana? Hivyo like you start 1 hivyo tukizunguka, right? 1 up to 20. So ikifika hapa inaenda hapo kwa gypsy next row. Hii mshaki. Inaenda next row. So now we are counting up to 20. But if you find yourself in number, whether it is 3, any multiple of 3, or any number with 3, don't say it out loud. You clap. No, sikiza vizuri. Tuna count 1 up to 20. If umefikiwa na 3, any number with 3, or any multiple of 3, you do what? Otherwise, continue shouting the numbers. Tuanzie hapo daktari. Please project.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Tufike 20. Sawa. Hata tusiende mbali 20 peke yake. Sawa. Okay. So the other instruction, we start from the beginning again. Sawa. Daktari.
1, 2, 4, 5.
No, we need to move very fast. So tunaanza tena. Daktari, please. Hey, we need to move. Hakuna kufikiria. Mr. Mbache, tunaanza tena because we have to waste your time.
1, 2, 4, 5.
Tuanze tena. One more time and then we go back. Daktari.
1, 2, 4, 5.
Okay, clap. Appreciate yourself and our instructor, Mr. Okay, thank you. It's always good to have a health break. That helps to refresh our mind. Please, those ones who've gone out, we're resuming our seat. We have 2 presenters who are online, and I would want my co-moderator to come and introduce the presenter who are online. I hope the one that is coming next is ready for their presentation. Now we have Hilda Chebet, and Hilda is dealing with children and navigating the digital media space in Kenya, risks and concerns. We also have another presenter, maybe Moreithi, come introduce our next presenters. We'll give them each 15 minutes at most so that we can break, or 10 minutes. Okay? Then we break for lunch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbatia, for the good work. Our next presenter will be Dr. Let me call her Dr. Dorcas Kibinei. Dr. Dorcas Kibinei is a lecturer of public relations at Kabarak University, and she's also a corporate communication consultant and a media trainer. She's currently pursuing her PhD, that's why I called her doctor, at Jomo Kenyatta University.
So, sorry, just before she comes, I've just been reminded very importantly, we've forgotten the Q&A session for the last presentation. We don't want to close people who had a very pertinent question or very important question on this. Maybe briefly we could address that, and then Kibinei will come. maybe Francina, did you have a question? You okay? So let's begin with one of the students here, and so you introduce yourself, tell us to whom the question is addressed, and on what topic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. My name is Francina Osita, a student pursuing bachelor's in mass communication. My question goes to the two presenters who presented the topic on AI, artificial intelligence, both in teaching and in journalism. Now, what recommendations do you have now that Dr. Ndonye mentioned that we need to adopt to the artificial intelligence? So I'd ask, what recommendations do you have in terms of how we should pursue our careers? And in this case, I'm talking about the generation alpha who are yet to choose their careers. So how should they look, or how should they perceive choosing careers in the future? Because now that video editing is being taken over by the AI, we have news anchoring and all that. So how should they pursue it? And then my next question is how, now we read, Chepse asked a question to the AI, like, how are you and stuff, and the AI mentioned that it doesn't have feelings, yeah? So this points me to the ethical standards that AI should maintain in terms of journalism. How is AI able to reach that ethical standards that journalism requires in terms of fairness and biasness, and how are we still needed in journalism now that AI is, how should AI approach the ethical parts, and how should we respond to that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for Francina. I'm happy that Daktari is noting down these questions. We would want once. We have Chelsea Auko. Maybe present your question, your name and the question.
Thank you. My name is Chelsea Auko from the School of Media, the Department of Mass Communication. My question goes to Dr. Ndonye. I believe with the emergence of we won't escape it, and I'm sure at one point we will have to embrace it. So what do you recommend on the considerations which we will use to ensure the responsible application and the deployment of AI? Because I believe there's no way we will ignore it. Yes, thank you.
Very good. Let's clap for her. Very insightful question. Any other question? Yes, Sylvia Gatti.
Okay, thank you for the chance. My name is Sylvia Gatti, media student. My question is, okay, first and foremost, I want to appreciate the fact that with the integration of new media and technology, that is AI, we're being able to make unique content in terms of in the field of media. But now my question to Mr. Ndonye is, what is your advice to us as young upcoming journalists? Because yes, AI is here with us and we need to embrace it. But what is this that you can tell us as the young upcoming journalists that you can do to ensure that we still maintain our originality in this field?
Thank you. Let's clap for her. That's a very good question. We also want to balance maybe, so those are 3 questions for the AI. Do we have any question? I want to give priority now to the music. The last presentation we had, is that on last? Still on AI. Maybe we could have also, first, do we have for the last presentation first? Yes. Please tell us your name and then your question.
My name is Kiamba. Okay, my question goes
Jesse,
to
I think.
Wanderi and Dr. Wanderi and or Mr. Wanderi and Professor, because and partly Ndonye, we talk about AI, and it's good that it's a platform that is encouraging creativeness, and we are happy for that because we should also grow. And one scholar, maybe I'll check later the years and the name, said if you don't change with change, change will change you. And therefore, we should change. But at the same time, I remember the first presentation, and this goes to Professor and Wanderi and also Ndonye, about being Africans. So, okay, how are we going to encourage Africanism in all these changes? Because there's change in Professor's document, there's change also in Wanderi's document, because he's also talking about African music, and we need to look at how we're going to either blend, how we're going to blend, because Donye's issue is about now we're also becoming robots. Okay, there's this issue of having job problem, because people are not getting jobs. Okay, what is going to happen at the end of the day? So I'm requesting one of them, because it's also kind of a general kind of an observation, that we look into the issue of now blending, and also merging it to the first presenter's work, how we're going to do it generally, because you cannot lose Africanism. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's clap for him. And lastly, maybe we could have Gypsy's question.
Okay, thank you so much. I am Chepsergon Koech. Yeah, and mine is not really a question, really, but I'm just I'm reacting, or I'm just adding on what they said, and mine is just basically to like echo what the dean had said about we need to find ways of integrating AI into our lives, because whether we like it or not, it's there. And because personally, I'm a very big fan of like technology. Part of the reason why in this school I've been able to succeed with what I did, and it's because of technology. Everybody here, all the staff members, whenever they need anything, they would come to me. Not because I did anything in like IT or anything, but because I have like chosen to love it, and because I do believe that AI, it's a beautiful thing. Of course, it has its own like negativities, but we can find ways of integrating it in a more responsible way. Because if you remember when we were in like primary school, there was this topic in science called making work easier. You know, where we talked about like wheelbarrows, jembes, nini. Those things, they came here to like help us, and that's the same thing with like AI. AI has come here to like help us, and I think because Dr. Ndonye also mentioned something to do with calculators. You know, them coming, they have helped us to do very complex mathematical calculations, and because the time have all these calculators, and so they had to do 1 plus, you know, like 10 plus, you know, like physically, like from their minds and all that. But for us, these things, they've come here, and they are here to like help us become better. And so what I think is we need to adopt it for the purposes of being competitive. Some people, they will go for it, and then us, we might still be saying, oh, you know, it's not good, da, da, da. And then others, they just go and they see how it can work for them. And then when you go into the like workplace, you know, if you know how to, you have an added advantage. And if you don't, you know, you are on the losing end. Because when you look at something else like social media, for example, when that thing came, people are like, especially the older generation. But now you see them trying now to come in. They are now coming to like Facebook when us, we have left. Now we are on other things. And they are really trying so hard. Look at all our like politicians. Now is when they are coming, they are joining like TikTok. They are trying to do it, but they are doing it wrong. Because, so if they had adopted it from earlier, by now we would be so way, the last thing, if you look at our university, Kabarak, I do believe this is the one university that has really embraced social media. And I think I told James Mboru one time, because I think he's the one who like runs it. And I told him what he's doing is really incredible for this institution. There's no institution in this country which has well-curated content, and that is what kind of, I believe, inatusaidia pale nje, all right? And so, if I was an entrepreneur, I will use AI. And if I can get a job, if I can have an AI that will do something without needing someone else, I will use it. And so it is up to you now to figure out how can I make myself relevant at that time, because whether you like it or not, this thing will come, it will take your jobs. And yeah, and the last thing is
yes.
AI.
Lastly,
AI, normally as human beings, we are wired to be against change. When it first comes, we feel so scared about it, but I think we need to embrace it because it will help with efficiency. Because, for example, for memos, and I will say this now, memos, I don't need to think too much. There is no qualification for writing original memos. Memos need just to communicate. So if I can use it to help me do something in 1 second or 2 seconds, why not? You see, so it's just using it, knowing where to use it well and where maybe not. Thank you.
Okay, let's clap for him. Good comments. Let's give the two presenters who are here time, beginning with Dr. Ndonye, because we know that many of the questions were addressed to the topic him and the professor did, and then also Mr. Wanderi will make comments briefly, and then we'll break for lunch at about 1:30. So we'll have one presentation online.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And one, let me make a disclaimer. I cannot claim to know everything about AI. And I know some of us are here. We have Dr. Ruth, we have Dr. Moshere, Mutanisaidia. Yeah, because we are in this together now in addition to Wanderi. Okay, first question. What recommendation should I give to the young people choosing careers? There is no career to choose. There are skills to explore. There are skills to develop and innovate in. So if you are a Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and you are talking about career, then you don't belong in this century. We are in a world whereby there is less mental work, but more of skill application. Let us not see AI as if it is a new thing. Actually, the software that you use to do graphic design, by the way, what is it called? The InDesign, Illustrator, ziko na AI. Okay, just look at the naming from the company. Does it have AI? Because in those graphic design, whatever, those are AIs. Okay, or everything that you use on TikTok, filters, that's AI. Okay? Otherwise, how does something know that it can change your face from who you look like to whom you don't look like? So what we need to concentrate on, according to me, on the issue of career, concentrate on learning AI. You have to learn it. It is coming to us late, it came to others earlier. Like in mathematicians, they faced it earlier. In 1990s, there were things to help in calculation. In around 2005, if I can remember 2007, that is when we were learning accounting packages, Sage, Pastel, and QuickBooks. And myself, I remember one time going to Nyeri to train all the bazaars there to help them in accounting. And I remember I met computers late in my life, but I learned computers. My first thing to teach at the university, by the way, are computers. So it is you to learn the system, it is you to learn the new applications in the digital world, and it will help you. The second question, so the conclusion, you learn AI, be innovative with the AI, just like we learned computers and other allied skills. Don't stick to know the allied skills that you need to survive in this world. And I can tell you every other time for myself I learn. Like last year, all the last year I was learning systems. There was an year I was learning the what we call web design. I can design webs. I can. I am now learning what we call managing systems, because we have moved from websites to systems. We are no longer in websites, so we are dealing with the systems. And the systems are websites in which AI is integrated. Ethical part of it, the ethical part of AI, I think someone needs to help me with that. Dr. Moshere, can you help me? The ethical part of AI. Yeah. How do you, actually the question is this, how can you ensure responsible development, responsible deployment, and responsible application of AI?
Okay, maybe I'll take it from that point where you asked the ChatGPT to give you information, or you greeted, and then it declared that it does not have any feeling. And that's where the issue is. When you don't have feelings, then you can't empathize, and you know what that means. You can really harm the other person. I'm happy that all these things are created by man. And you also said something to the effect that you have never seen, or you are waiting for a man to make a machine that will walk around, collect grass, and come up with milk. And in fact, the milk is white from green.
Yeah.
So all these things point to the supremacy or the omniscience of God. It's only God who is all-knowing. And in that respect, then, we cannot be able to create something that will surpass what God has created. God is the only one, and He gave us as human beings dominion over things. So we can only have that dominion to the extent that He gives us. So what I'm trying to say is this: machines will always fail us somewhere. That authenticity, we cannot really attain it 100% because we are still depending on the same God to discover, to be innovative. So I believe there is still that part of a human, the human aspect, which is God-given, that we'll still always yearn for. And so about ethics, the machines may not give us 100% because they collect the information that the human have.
Exactly.
Already
Yeah.
confirmed.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, clap for Daktari. Yeah. We cannot ignore the human aspect. So the ethical aspect, you will always be you as a Christian. You will always be you as a secular person if you adopt to that. So we are struggling with this, but what she has said is true. The last one, sorry? Yeah, you want to end? Yeah.
To add on what has been said by Dr. Moshe, I think the ethics here depends on the user, you as the user. So because you have got the moral obligation to know how to use these technologies well, you are the one who decides whether you are using it to cheat on an academic paper, a term paper. You are the one using it for whatever purpose. So you are the end user. So ethics, I think, mainly is on you as the user. You determine that. Thank you.
Yeah, good. There is another one here that should be answered by my colleague, Dr. Ruth Owino. Yeah. What to do to maintain originality in the wake of AI? Yeah, what should we do to maintain originality in the wake of AI? Msikize hiyo maswali kwa sababu ninyi mmeuliza ili msiseme ati ni Dr. Ndonye tu anajua. All of us, these people know a lot. Usione wameketi. Okay, yeah, Dr. Ruth.
let me start by talking about intellectual property. All of us at some point have picked somebody's photo on social media without giving acknowledgement, or somebody took our photo on this podium and you used it to take a photo, to upload it on your social media accounts without acknowledging that that photo is from Joshua or from Lucy or from Grace, yeah? And sometimes we fall victims into these things, including our academic work. We think, oh, Dr. Ndonye wrote a paper in 2011, but amesha sahau, ameandika another 10 papers between 2011 and now. So I can take his work, put in AI, ibadilishe lugha, then I put like it's my own words, yeah? And I think that conversation should start from there when we're thinking about, somebody said ethics. The intellectual property of acknowledging that this is Dr. Ndonye's work, even though I have rephrased it, but it's still his. It was his idea, yeah? And so as we discuss AI and this conversation about being authentic self, we must start by saying, can I acknowledge that this is not my work, this is somebody else's work, yeah? And AI says, I'm not emotional. So even if, for instance, you're writing a love letter or anything emotional, AI is not going to help you, yeah? It can only help you as much as your brain works. And Dr. Moshera said very nicely that they are machines. It's what you insert in those machines that gives you what you want. So when we are working with AI, you need to be creative. Your creative mind still comes. And we've been taught in classes creativity. We've been taught about creative thinking and critical thinking, yeah? It is a good thing to use AI, but can we come back to our authentic self and say, AI imenipea hii data, but can I turn it in my own language? When Dr. Ndonye writes for me a letter or a memo, I can tell this is Dr. Ndonye or Professor Wanyama. Why? Because I almost can tell how Dr. Ndonye talks to me if I interact with him every day as a lecturer or a colleague. So things like, for instance, the font size, the font type, the tone, the language, I can tell this is not Benjamin's work, this is Joyce's work because of how I'm used to it, yeah? So machine does not have those because they are not emotional. So what you put there is what you get. So pick what you have put in that machine, read through it, then turn it into your own language with your creativity and with your intellectual that you've learned in class, your critical thinking, and personalize it to yourself before you post it or take it to the lecturer. Because as a lecturer, if I've taught you for 10 weeks in a semester, I know who you are. I know how you talk to me in class, don't we? We know how you talk in class. We know the ones who translate Luo into English and the ones who translate English to Kiswahili directly, yeah? So we're like, no, this is not him, yeah? So turn into yourself, pick that emotional message on AI, then personalize it to your own, yeah? The other thing I must say also, which I know it exposes us to, is privacy risks. AI has an issue with privacy risk, and sometimes we pick those things. Dr. Ndonye gave a very interesting example when he started his speech. He said, the Presidential Communication Unit at one point in their initial first 3 or 4 months were accused of plagiarizing speeches and posts they were putting on social media. But because a young person was given that Facebook account to create content, and AI today gives us an opportunity to create content to put on our social media, yeah? We develop it. But he did not remember there were other people who may have written the same speech or in the same topic. For instance, Madaraka Day of 2020 or 2012 was the late President Kibaki's time, yeah? Then President Uhuru came in. There's somebody who sat there and wrote a speech and could have shared it on the internet, yeah? So what it does then, it collects all that the data on internet, and by the time you say, AI, please write for me a speech for the president on Madaraka Day. Yeah? And remember, AI in Kenya is up, ChatGPT is up to which year? 20 words? Guys, it has that until which year? Tutawashika nyinyi kwa class. So you can imagine, if it's Madaraka Day, it's giving us data until 2019 or 2021, yeah? So meaning, it's already outdated. We're in 2023. So why umeenda umeweka Madaraka Day speech and you're presenting it to the president, and the president goes and reads the outdated data? You see what we're talking about? So, I mean, those are the issues in terms of creative thinking, critical thinking, being authentic self, and saying, yes, AI is here to help me, use it appropriately. Say, can I pick some basic information, but personalize it according to the context and the person who's presenting that data? Yeah.
Good, clap for Dr. Ruth. I wouldn't have put it better than that. This is the last thing I can say before I welcome Mr. Wanderi. I know you are very much scared about how this is coming up. Remember, AI has just come to us, but in the United States, for the last around 10 years, they have been using it. If you can remember the Trump wife's speech, you remember, there was that debacle that happened. And it was actually probably actually the claims of the what do we call them? A conspiracy theory is that the guy just instructed an AI to generate a speech, and the AI picked speeches from Michelle Obama's, blah, blah. You understand? Put it together and they presented it to her. And she read it. You can read about it. But the thing is, let us be ready to learn new skills. As young people, are you ready to learn new skills so that you are more skilled than myself? Are you setting some goals to learn new things which are consistent to technology, which can be an advantage to you? I usually am very open. I have already said that by January that year, all that year I will spend learning speech writing. Actually, the whole of 2024, God's willing, my aim is to learn speech writing. So do you have an aim of a skill that you learn? That is in writing. I learned cooking because I like cooking. I set some things to learn every other time. Do you do that? Or you just wait the world with your chest? Hivyo ndivyo tunasemanga kwetu. So learn new skills. Be in line with whatever is required. Be creative. And I was telling my class I'm teaching innovative and creative thinking, which is a very good course. I was telling them, just innovate in your area. Look at this lady we call, and I was give you an example. What is the mini chips? Mini chips. If you know mini chips, was actually a classmate to Dorcas Kepenei. The word has it that she never even finished the school. But the way she came up with innovation of photography, innovating photography, and now she took it to the video is amazing. And she is earning out of it. It's just the photography we know, but she has brought in the issue of innovative ways and creative ways of editing that video so that it becomes unique. There are opportunities for creativity and innovation for each one of us. You just need to expose yourself to the necessary tools. Thank you.
Dr. Ndonye, before you run away from, I just wanted to give a quick comment on AI.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped out. Now, we might be, not very happy with AI, or we might be running the risk of almost demonizing AI because we are using the poor man's version of AI. Allow me to qualify my words. What we use ChatGPT is the poor man's version of GPT-4.
Yeah.
If you pay for GPT-4, that thing has the ability to generate, it's supposed to do what AI is expected to do, generate very fresh content. Okay, and it's updated. Like GPT-4, if you go, it's updated up to today in Kenya. But now, ChatGPT has limitations. And one of the things ChatGPT does, which is very risky, is that it also, where it does not have any information, it does not confess to not know. It generates rumors.
Yes.
For instance, there's a time I challenged, ChatGPT to know if it has those limitations. I asked ChatGPT to write the synopsis or the plot outline of a certain movie that was made in Nigeria in 2018.
Yeah.
And I can assure you the amount of rumor mongering that was done in ChatGPT is unimaginable.
Yeah.
So there's a certain thing that we need to be very careful about as journalists, as artists. ChatGPT was created as a language model. So what it's supposed to be is, try to give you a certain idea, present a certain idea in a very fluent manner, okay? So sometimes what it does, and you try, go, and ChatGPT, whatever it is, chat it up, and then after it's done that, ask it, what is the source of this information? Then it will start rambling things, I don't know, I have no sources, I don't know, it will start, or it will give you fictitious sources, okay? Weenda tu weke tu hata the concept of what? The concept of African philosophy, and religion. Itakupatia story mingi, then after that you listen, what is the source? And it will start giving you strange names. So it is very important to know how to use AI. If you ask me, AI, the current AI that you'd ask me that is useful is the one that you can use to make graphical presentations. For instance, Microsoft 365 has a very useful feature where you can easily turn your Microsoft Word presentation into a PowerPoint presentation, and it's a very nice, neat presentation with copyright, with copyright-free images. That means Creative Commons license. So it's very important to know which tools. There are many AI tools out there, but which one is useful for you? If you ask me, AI is supposed to make work easier, but AI is not supposed to give you knowledge. No. AI has zero knowledge to give you, good people. So, wewe enda usome, kama ni media theory, go learn media theory. Then, ukishaandika your media theory, you can ask Quillbot to help you paraphrase. You can ask ChatGPT to help you summarize. You can go to Scriba and the AI version of Scriba and ask it to give you the references, the references that you can get from that topic and indicate them in APA. But hii mambo ya kusema tutaenda ChatGPT and that's your source of information, totally lost. Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And actually, the source of employment in future is going to be given to those people who will be knowing how to use ChatGPT and other chatbots and other tools in which are developed and they have the aspect of artificial intelligence. So the earlier you learn it, the better for you. That is why we are saying you learn, because there will be many people like Thuku who do not know how to instruct it to give the correct information, or like another person. You get his point. Yeah, if you don't know how to instruct it, and that is the point of Mr. Thuku. If you don't know how to instruct it, you will pay someone to instruct it for you so that it gives you authentic, original, reliable information. And because we are in mass communication and in music, why don't we just learn it earlier? I chatted with that thing the first day it was. I remember waking up at 2, and I chatted with that thing when it was being, that was around 21st of November last year. And I was able to see the flows, blah, blah. And now I've realized it gives you information if you give it correct information. You give it wrong instructions, it will give you wrong answers. You give it correct information, and now ability to give it correct information is a skill that you must learn.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's clap for Dr. Michael Ndonye. Because of time, please, we have a presenter online who's been waiting for so long. Let's give Madam Dorcas time to present for the next 10 minutes, and then we will break for lunch. We come for the afternoon session. I know this topic is big, and it cannot be exhausted with the few minutes we have at this time. but it is indeed a very interesting area. I hope she's ready. Madam Dorcas, I don't know whether you can hear us where you are. Yes, so change is inevitable, okay? And someone said change is constant. So things will continue to evolve. By the way, if I will tell you as Madame Dorcas comes, you know, even when writing itself was invented, people protested that it will corrupt human memory. There has always been a protest against technology. The most recent resistance, thank you, Mr. Eric, was when we were transitioning from digital to from analog to digital transmission of signals. You remember all the media, they resisted, they closed for like a week or so, in 2017. We didn't see, only KBC was airing because they had invested heavily on analog signal transmission. So the best way to go about it, and I concur what Dr. said and what the rest of Dr. here have said, we must embrace it and know how to use it. We cannot resist, okay? Also when Telsa and, Thomas Edison invented, direct current. His student came up with the idea of alternating current. And Thomas Edison was very frustrated. And alternating current was to save a lot. Apparently, if it was not for alternating current, we should be having a substation everywhere, including here. But his student solved. But Thomas Edison protested. He, in fact, did experiments to show how direct current is harmful and will kill millions of people. But then he did not prevail because the time for this particular change had come and it had to take place. So, dear students, you shouldn't be scared. We are all here and there has been changes every time and every year. So we need to embrace and work with it. I hope Madam Dorcas is ready. Can we hear her speak? Madam Dorcas, I don't know whether you can. Are you muted on your end? She's unmuted. Okay, we can hear you. Proceed, madam.
Good afternoon. Let me know if you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear. Proceed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Machia. Thank you, Joshua, for that introduction. And the entire team for this conference. I think we've had a very lively discussion, especially on the new channels of communication. And I will still continue on that, but on the PR context. And my paper, which I'm just looking at analysis of crisis management theories in the context of social media. And I'll focus so much on what happened in Kenya in 2021, that is the KFC crisis, of the potato crisis. I'm not able to share my video because the host has not allowed, so I'll just proceed. And the crisis, as we all know, can bring down an organization, but there are some strategies which we have used and which organizations are employing on a daily basis when it happens. Most of the time we act on denial. Sometimes we want to shift the blame. Sometimes we want to shift the blame. Sometimes we want to justify why it is happening. And rarely we do apologize for the crisis. But now the challenges are there, being faced by the new media. And the new media is posing serious challenges to our organization. According to Combs in 2007, he asserts that crisis has been accelerated by the new change, the social media. It has been there since 2000. And I'm going to undertake a comprehensive examination of how these theories, the theories that we all, those doing PR, especially the situational theories and the image protection theories that we always use, they really need to change, especially with the rampant influence of social media, basing our focus so much on the incidents of KFC in Kenya. So the general crisis management theories and their critique, and I have focused on two main theories on crisis management, and that is the traditional crisis management theories, which include the situational crisis communication theory, SCCT, and the image repair theory, which they offer the foundations on which organizations build their crisis response strategies. So the first theory emphasizes the role of the nature of the crisis and the organizational reputation image. While the second one, this is on the repair of this theory, which we are trying to protect or restore the organization's image. In the era of social media, the speed at which the information goes is really high. We may not depend so much on these theories to help us in managing a crisis. The crisis and communication are two sides which rely so much on each other when it comes to an organization. There is a pressing need to critique and adapt these frameworks to be more responsive and inclusive of the digital variables. So social media has revolutionized crisis communication by enabling real-time information. We disseminate information as it happens. Sometimes we don't even know who is disseminating this information. The consumer is very strong on the social media, and the consumer is the person who makes us make decisions on our organizations on how we are going to manage ourselves. The rapid information sharing, when you look at this writer, offers a platform for organizations to engage with stakeholders and manage crises effectively. However, the social media user-centered nature presents unique challenges, including the rapid spread of negative sentiments and misinformation. The kind of information that we get on social media requires a citizen who is more informed of the kind of misinformation that we get on social media. So when you look at what happened in KFC, maybe I can just give a brief history of what happened, that in 2021, there was a crisis, a potato shortage. And people, Kenyans on Twitter, were all over talking about it. And KFC, people were even responding that Kenyans enjoyed eating their KFC meals, that is the chips, over the holidays, and that is why they had shortage. Others were saying that this should close. But if you can remember clearly, the CEO came on social media and said that we cannot use the Kenyan potatoes because they do not meet the standards, the international standards of the potato supplied. Since KFC is an international organization, they cannot start using our potatoes. In the same note, the Kenyans were asking, why can't they buy our potatoes? And yet, we are consuming these chips. So we had many hashtags. For example, #boycott KFC, according to the Standard Media of 2022. And the KFC crisis response strategies highlight the complexity of managing crises in the age of social media. Many people, actually in 24 hours, we had 2,002 tweets. All of them are challenging KFC, others saying that they should just go back, others saying why not produce ugali then, because it's our staple food. And at one point, the KFC in their social platforms advised Kenyans that they have an option. If you can't get chips, then you can get ugali. This is not the way to go when you're handling a crisis. You have to think fast. This public outcry demonstrated the need for alignment with public perceptions and expectations. When we look at the public perceptions regarding KFC's response strategies in Kenya, and when you understand the social media behavior of the Kenyan consumers, it is crucial for organizations like KFC. KFC has been in existence for 91 years. It ought to have known what to do with the social media. Social media has been there since 2000. So these analyses will delve into public perceptions of KFC's crisis response strategies within the Kenyan context, considering the cultural and social factors that influence public reactions. So the KFC's failure to meet the expectations of Kenyan consumers resulted in a public outcry. And a lot was written, and the case is actually underscoring the need for organizations to align their crisis communication with cultural and contextual factors, recognizing the social media amplifies local sentiments and perception. So what is the behavior of Kenyans? How many people use social media when we are free? When do we actually engage ourselves on social media? Do we share information as quickly as we get? The information that goes about organizations, not only KFC, is really rampant. And you don't know who is sharing this information and where is it coming from. Sometimes we have whistleblowers from our organizations to do the same in terms of sharing information. It has happened to many organizations. And if I can just cite a case of the policewoman who someone took a photo of her with a tight skirt. This incident in itself made her resign. We may not know the magnitude or the kind of negative influence of the social media until you see such cases. In terms of organizations, the social media can affect us negatively to a point where we do not know how to get out. Sometimes when you look at writers, the way they have defined crisis is just, it is an unexpected entity. It has a potential to create negative results. And other writers have said that it is a situation whereby organizations are ready for a crisis, which it requires us to be alert at all times rather than estimating when and how to react during a crisis. Sometimes as organizations, we've just put up plans on what we might do during a crisis. When I teach on crisis management, I tell students that we need to have fire extinguishers around here because we are just anticipating. What about what you don't know? We don't know how people are feeling. We do not know what people are saying. And anyone writes anything about an organization in whichever part of the world that you are in. So image restoration is paramount in the aftermath of a crisis. So KFC used social media for post-crisis communication to clarify the reasons behind the potato shortage, but it faced resistance from the public, illustrating the complexities of using social media to regain trust and rebuild reputation. So when you look at these, we understand that they came later. The reaction from KFC came later when the reputation had already been damaged, when people had already talked about KFC negatively, and especially when this on the social media page that they cannot purchase potatoes from Kenya. So KFC's effort to restore its image in Kenya encountered challenges, emphasizing that rebuilding reputation on social media requires more than just explanations. It necessitates active engagement with stakeholders, addressing concerns and demonstrating commitment to change. And the change that we're talking about is adapting to the social media and the social media tools, being able to overcome anything that people will say. And I don't mean that we keep deleting text like what organizations do, that anytime someone says something negative, you delete. But the question is, how do you react? Deleting does not really help. It is that strategy that is going to help you to communicate well and effectively during a crisis. So KFC's crisis in Kenya serves as an illustrative example of how social media can drastically alter the perceived severity of a crisis. What began as a localized issue soon gained global attention through these hashtags and many more. Social media's ability to mobilize public opinion can rapidly elevate a crisis severity, challenging traditional severity assessments. So when you look at what we need to do as an organization, relating to the theories that I just mentioned, that we need to think critically about crisis adaptation. We need to think on how we can handle crisis with this kind of paradigm shift. So we need to look at the theories critically, and social media has democratized crisis communication. The power has gone to the people. We've given voice to the public and demanding a level of transparency and responsiveness previously unseen. Remember, when a crisis happens, even the things that were held by an organization, the things that were being hidden, things that were not given to the public will come out during a crisis. So crisis management theories must evolve to encompass the dynamic and interactive nature of digital media so that we can handle the crisis regardless of when it happens and how it happens, and especially on social media. The recent case of the Facebook hacking is also an example that we can look into. Before you know it, someone has hacked your social platform. Before you know it, people are making comments. So do we still go by the theories that we had? Do we still rely on denying? Do we still rely on protecting an image as an organization when thousands and thousands of people are busy destroying that image that you built for so many years? Do we now look at how we can employ corporate communication experts who are well in their social media abilities to manage our social media pages? Do we need probably to be very active on social media as organizations? It's no longer the traditional media, the newspapers, the radio, and the TV, but the social media is taking us by surprise. So while situational crisis communication theory remains a valuable framework in crisis management, its application must be reevaluated in the context of the digital age. This case of KFC demonstrated how social media can swiftly alter the severity and trajectory of a crisis, challenging traditional crisis management paradigms. So in an era where information travels at the speed of a tweet, crisis communication theories must adapt to the evolving landscape of digital media, emphasizing adaptability, agility, and active stakeholder engagement. So remember, as my parting shot, what one business billionaire said, that is Warren Buffett, a very serious billionaire. He says that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And I would say in today's world, it only takes a second to ruin a reputation that has been built for a very, very long time. So my recommendation would be that organizations need to change the way they handle crisis. The crisis management theories need to involve the social media while dealing with crisis. It's no longer a relaxing era where we just wait and do a press release, do a press conference, and wait for things to run in a normal way. It's changing. Sometimes you can even be awake at 2 and see the way people are commenting about something. I told you 2002 tweets in 24 hours is not a joke. And everyone making demands and writing negatively about KFC, it will take a long time to regain their image. So that is my presentation. Unless there is a question, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Madam Dorcas. A round of applause to Madam Dorcas. That's been a good presentation. I don't know whether we have a question for Madam Dorcas before we can release her. We know she's online. If there's any question, maybe very quickly before we break for lunch. I know we've been here for long, so maybe it's time. Any questions? Okay. I know maybe those questions are on the way. And we know that Madam Dorcas is one of our own. So if a question comes in mind and we've closed that session, maybe you'll be in a position to further the discussion in your classrooms. I think now we want to take a break, a lunch break. It's now about 2 o'clock, so we'll take a 30 minutes break. But just before we break for lunch, allow me to invite Dr. Moshere to pray for lunch and dismiss us this time with God's blessing. Please come back at exactly 2:30. We still have more presentation lined up for us, and we don't want to leave before we give opportunities to presenters to present. Karibu, Daktari.
Thank you very much. Let's pray for the food. Father, we thank you for all this time you've been with us, Lord. Thank you for taking us through the discussions. Very insightful, building us, Lord, even challenging us to think beyond the box. Thank you, Lord, for those who have facilitated. Thank you, Lord, for the organizing committees and all of us who have attended. So as we go for lunch, Lord, we pray that you bless the food we take. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
So please, let's take the break. Students, please remember to come back. These are very important sessions. I know some of you have been here for long, but it's part of learning, okay? So let's come, let's learn.